Two Republican lawmakers have announced they will run to replace Kevin McCarthy as Speaker of the House. Republican Representative Jim Jordan of Ohio and Majority Leader Steve Scalise announced their plans to run today. It comes after House members approved a motion yesterday removing McCarthy as the House Speaker. It's something East Texas Congressman Nathaniel Moran voted against. And when it comes to the next Speaker, Moran tells us he's interested in both Scalise and Jordan, who Moran actually brought to Tyler for an event earlier this year. Jordan also chairs the House Judiciary Committee, which Congressman Moran is a member of. Now, in an interview this afternoon on East Texas Now, the congressman also expressed interest in Representative Kevin McCarthy of Oklahoma. Regardless, though, of what or who comes next, Moran says the McCarthy ouster puts Republicans in a very bad spot. Is unity possible at this point, in the near future at least?
Unfortunately, I don't know that unity is possible because of what happened yesterday, because of the way it happened, because of the history, really the personal problems between Speaker McCarthy and Matt Gaetz, and really the real reason for this coming up. I think that this is going to divide our conference even more.
Now, to watch our full interview with the congressman, scan the QR code on your screen or click on the big red box at KLTV.com. Scroll down, you'll find a link under today's date. And among my questions for the congressman, would he ever want to be Speaker of the House? His answer to that question and more in the full interview. Well,